I found out that my boyfriend was actually a billionaire heir, but during the 2 years we were together, he only gave me a 2 scrunchie as a gift. That was until I saw him casually give a Ferrari to an Instagram influencer. My boyfriend, Ethan, was broke, so I'd been supporting him. In 2 years together, he'd only gifted me a 2 scrunchie. Then I saw him casually give a Ferrari to some Instagram influencer. Turns out he wasn't a penniless nobody, but a billionaire heir. I worked nights at a bar to save up for a fancy watch he wanted. One night, I froze outside a VIP room, tray in hand. Inside was Ethan. For a second, I thought I was wrong. He wore a tailored suit radiating an unfamiliar aura of wealth. This wasn't the Ethan I knew. He had his arm around a woman, a gorgeous influencer with millions of followers. My breath hitched. I remembered the night before, Ethan holding me close, whispering, "Babe, I'm so lucky to have you. I love you so much." The influencer dangled a car key, cooing, "Thank you so much, Ethan, for the Ferrari. I don't know how I'll ever repay you." The room erupted in cheers. "Marry him!" someone yelled. "Kiss, kiss!" They kissed. I went numb like I'd been struck by lightning. I handed my tray to a coworker and fled. In the bathroom, I sobbed, biting my hand. We've been together for 2 years, and all he'd ever given me was that cheap scrunchie. He claimed his family was poor, his mom was gone, his dad had a stroke, and he had younger siblings to support. I felt for him. I understood his pressure, so I took care of him. We lived in a tiny apartment. I paid the rent, utilities, and groceries. His paycheck supposedly went to his family. He'd even get insecure about his situation. "Babe, do you think I'm a loser for being broke?" he'd ask. "You'll stay with me, right? You won't leave?" I'd always reassure him. "It's okay, we'll work hard and things will get better." He'd promise, "Babe, I'll make enough money to marry you, buy you a huge diamond ring, a big house, and you won't have to work anymore." Thinking about his promises, my heart twisted. I left the bar, telling the manager I was sick. Back home, I cried myself to sleep. Ethan came home after midnight, crawled into bed, and hugged me. "Sorry, babe. The boss made us work late. He knew I had a second job, but not where." I smelled perfume on him, my nails digging into my palms. When I didn't respond, he kissed my cheek. "Babe, what's wrong? Are you mad I'm late?" I choked back tears, afraid he'd hear. No, just not feeling well. I finally managed. Until I knew why he was lying, I had to pretend. He touched my forehead. "No fever. Go to sleep, babe. You'll feel better tomorrow." I clenched my jaw, tears silently streaming. The next day, I left early for work, my eyes puffy. Ethan texted, "Babe, why didn't you call in sick?" I stared at his message, my vision blurring. "I'm fine now," I replied. "Eat breakfast, babe." "Love you." I bit my lip, my heart bleeding. "Ethan, if you loved me, you wouldn't be kissing other women. A Ferrari? I couldn't even dream of that." That night, I went back to the bar. I knew he'd be there, claiming he was working late. He showed up, ordering bottles of champagne worth thousands. At home, we agonized over ordering takeout. At restaurants, we only ordered vegetables, too afraid to splurge on meat. I delivered his drinks. He still sat in the center, the influencer by his side. My coworkers whispered about the wealthy man in that room, all deferring to Ethan like he was some big shot. In my uniform, heavy makeup, and a mask hidden in the dim light, Ethan didn't recognize me. I overheard their conversation. Ethan was the heir to the Lawson Corporation, worth billions. No dead mom, no sick dad, no struggling siblings. All lies. Then I heard someone ask, "Ethan, are you still with that broke girl, Chloe?" Another chimed in, "You've been stringing her along for 2 years. Don't tell me you actually fell for her?" Ethan scoffed, "Fall for her? That cheap? Tacky girl? She's not even fit to be my maid." My heart shattered. I looked at my rough hands, calloused from work and chores. My most expensive possession was my second-hand phone. Then I looked at the influencer, her skin flawless, her clothes designer. We were worlds apart. So I wasn't even good enough to be his maid. "Then why not dump her?" someone asked. Ethan smirked. "When I'm done playing with her," he continued, "she's such a clueless idiot. I casually mentioned a Patek Philippe watch, and now she's saving up to buy me one. She eats ramen every day, wears cheap clothes, and gets excited over a 2 scrunchie," he added cruelly. "She's like a dirty used rag, good for wiping your shoes." The influencer giggled. "Don't insult yourself, Ethan, by even comparing yourself to that kind of trash." He stroked her hand. "Of course, darling, she's not fit to lick your boots." The room roared with laughter. Ethan laughed too, his eyes filled with contempt. I clutched my chest, barely breathing, my limbs trembling. A dirty, used rag? I looked at the scrunchie on my wrist, biting my lip. I pretended to love it because I didn't want to hurt his pride. What girl wouldn't want a real gift from her boyfriend? He twisted my sincerity into a joke. I stumbled, accidentally stepping on the influencer's foot. She slapped me. "You clumsy idiot. Watch where you're going." I apologized, had bowed, but she poked my head, screaming, "Get on your knees and apologize." Several guys shoved me. "How dare you disrespect our queen? Kneel." I fought back tears. "I'm sorry," I whispered. I had stepped on her foot, lost in the chaos. Ethan didn't recognize my voice. "Enough, Tiffany. Don't waste your time on a waitress. It's beneath you." He glanced at me with disgust. "Get out." His condescending tone crushed me. I scrambled up and ran, tears finally bursting forth as I sobbed outside the bar. All his love was a lie. I remembered meeting Ethan. I was leaving work late when some guys tried to drag me into an alley. Ethan intervened, fighting them off, getting bruised and battered in the process. His injuries warmed my heart. As an orphan, I'd never felt protected. Ethan felt like salvation. Grateful, I took him to dinner. He confessed his feelings and we started dating. I thought I'd found love. He was handsome, seemingly devoted, and a hard worker. For 2 years, I'd sacrificed everything for him. I woke up early to make him breakfast. I nursed him through fevers, terrified he'd need me and I wouldn't be there. And what did he do? Nothing but sweet talk and empty promises. He was right about one thing. I was stupid. Stupid for being so thoroughly deceived. I stumbled home, numb. Ethan sat on the couch, wearing the faded matching t-shirt I'd bought him. He stood up as I entered. Babe, my coworkers took me out for barbecue. I brought some home for you. He pointed to the takeout and a 6-pack of beer, grinning. The boss gave us this. He was so thrilled, like he'd won the lottery. I stared at him, remembering him ordering $1,000 champagne without blinking. My bonus was $200 this month. Awesome, right? When I didn't respond, he tried to hug me. Babe, what's wrong? The memory of his kiss with the influencer made my stomach churn. I doubled over, dry heaving. I hadn't eaten all day. He knelt beside me, worried. Babe, are you sick? Let's go to the hospital. His concern felt like a cruel joke. If I hadn't seen the truth, I would have fallen for it. I shoved the barbecue and beer into the trash. He frantically retrieved it. What are you doing? This was expensive. I closed my eyes. How long would he keep up the act? I opened Amazon, showing him a bottle of toner I'd been eyeing but couldn't afford. I want this. Can you buy it for me? He looked at the price, slapped himself and said, I'm sorry, babe. I'm so useless. I can't even buy you what you want. So sincere, so remorseful. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, a 25 bottle of toner was too expensive, but a Ferrari was nothing. In his eyes, I was a cheap woman, unworthy of even basic skincare, and I treated him like a king. I laughed, tears streaming down my face. He thought I was crying because he wouldn't buy me the toner. Babe, don't be sad. I'll save up, okay? Don't cry, he promised. When I make more money, I'll buy you anything you want. Even if it costs $100, he added softly. Your tears break my heart. His tender words brought back the sting of his insults, his disdain, the way he looked at me like trash when the influencer demanded I kneel. He was a monster. I pushed him away, my eyes blazing. We're breaking up. Panic filled his eyes. Don't be mad. I'll save up. Next month. Okay, babe? I wanted to rip off his mask. I wiped my tears, my throat raw. Ethan Lawson. I'm just a dirty used rag, right? Why bother lying anymore?